Yeah.
And we are live.
Yeah. Yeah.
All excited, all excited.
I know,
Yes.
right?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Facebook.
Unique couples.
Good evening, Unique Couples Community.
Yes.
Yay. Woo, woo. We're all excited. We are here again another Sunday night.
Yes.
Yes, right here.
And this is our 30th episode.
Woo!
30.
Big 30. We are
Yes,
growing.
30.
Yes, big 30. Ooh, there you go. Three.
The big 3-0.
Yes.
Unique couples. Yes. So we're all excited. If you're here, you're watching, go ahead, tag a friend, let them know. I'm gonna give the notifications time to set in, but go ahead. Yes, tag your friends, tag a couple, let them know to come on in, come on down. We are live and we have guests. Yes, we're all excited about that. So go ahead and tag. Let us know where you're watching from. We have some new people on with us. If this is your first time, type first time in chat and let us know where you're watching from, which island or which country. Let us know where you are watching from.
Yes. Welcome, Unique Couples Community. And like Linda said, you want to go ahead, you want to tag, you want to share, you want to like. Let us know where you're from. Today we have special guest who's going to be talking about an awesome fired up topic, how to attract the love you want from your spouse.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
We
How,
always do that, right?
yes. How to attract that love.
Take it up another notch.
Whether you've just gotten married, you are about to get married, no matter how long you've been married, because after 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you still need to attract the love you want from your spouse.
Ooh,
So you want to definitely
still want to keep it hot.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't want to miss this topic. You don't want to miss this conversation. So you want to go ahead and get folks on. Let them know we are getting started.
Oh, yes. I see Andrea wrote in from, yes, Yazoo City. Yes.
Andrea.
In the house.
All right.
Woo. Portia, Aubrey, hi. Watching from Freeport, Lakeisha, Jackson.
All right. Hey, look
Hey, from Jackson, that's Mississippi. Right?
Yes.
Yes, Mississippi. Yes.
We have Dallas, Texas in the house as well.
Yes.
Awesome.
This is
All
good.
excited. And we want to make sure we give our guests the time to present. Listen, if you have questions, make sure to type your questions in chat so that we could
Answer them at the end.
Yes, we could have question and answer at the end.
Yes.
And go ahead and type your comments in chat, whatever, takeaway you have, make sure put those in chat and stay until the end because we have announcements to make, upcoming super events for couples.
Yes, so I'm not gonna take up no more of our guest time, but we want to turn it over to John and Madeline Allen. They're from Yazoo City, Mississippi, and they're gonna have a great time.
Yes, and I have to say this because I know our guests, our unique couples, they don't miss anything. So they're going to look at you and say, this lady was on before, but she was with another man. I'm just going to clear it up. Let us clear that up. This is Madeline, and she's married to John. But Madeline looks like Esther.
That's a twin sister.
Yeah, because Esther was a guest here, but this is Esther's twin. So they're actually twin, identical twins. So this is Madeline, everyone. Yes. Say hi to Madeline. Go ahead and chat and say hi, Madeline.
Hello, everyone.
Okay.
All right, so we'll turn it over to John and Madeline.
Awesome. Hi, Tamara.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes, thank you guys. I guess before we dive into our topic, I know everyone is dying to know how we met, right? Probably not, but we're going to tell you anyway, right? I think I'm gonna let you take that away, John.
Okay, so I happened to be going to this church, and of course, I had just been out of a recent relationship, and I wasn't really wanting to meet anybody, wasn't really wanting to get involved with anybody, and just happened to see this young lady here. And she, just had a conversation, and she was interested in the Lord. She was interested in the youth. She was interested in a lot of things that I was interested in. And the Holy Spirit was kind of nudging me, hey, talk to her. I said, no, I'm done. I'm not interested in this. And so we had a conversation back and forth. And I thought after a week or two, she had said that she was leaving. She was going back to her home. And I thought that was it. And she was going back, and the Holy Spirit said, if you don't do something now, you're going to miss this opportunity. And so that's when I text her and let her know, I really don't want to see you go, and I'm really interested in you. And then come to find out later on, she said, it is the man who findeth a good thing. It's a man who findeth a wife. And so interesting enough that the Holy Spirit led me to her, and that she refused to do anything unless the Holy Spirit was led. So
right, because I like him too, but I refused to say anything. I was like, no, I'm not revealing any of this at all, because if he's for me, then God is going to lead him to me. I believe that with all my heart, and that's exactly what God did. He did the work in his heart, and then he approached me. So
it's a God orchestrated thing.
Yes,
so,
yes.
So we'll leave that at that. And then so one of the things, as we lead into this is, while we're going on this topic, you mind if I go from the start?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that since we had just talked about that, one of the leading attraction parts is, how did you meet your wife or your spouse? Because one of the things that that we need to know is that love sometimes need to be rekindled by going back to the space and place that you first met. If you think about some of the thoughts that had happened, the ways that you were attracted to your spouse or the one that you're attracted to, remember that that's the place where that burning began to kindle, and you don't want to lose that. And oftentimes in our relationships, we kind of filter and fizzle out because we don't remember the time that we had when we first tried to meet up with them.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's pretty heavy, for us. And so one of the things is just to lead us back there. What made you change? What was those things that interested you and attracted to your spouse in the first place?
Yes. And oftentimes we lose that because I know for him, he said, remember, you used to dress like a model. You used to wear heels all the time. I was like, I did? Like, really? Me? And now I'm like a teacher, and I'm like, I wear flats everywhere. I can't even imagine going to school and teaching in a pair of heels. But he's like, right. Remember you used to wear heels? So this year I was like, okay, well, on my shopping trips, I'm like, maybe I will pick up that pair of heels. Maybe I will do that. Because it was just us recalling the beginning and getting back to those things. Not that we haven't evolved and changed. He understands I'm not about to wear some stilettos to class every day, but it's important for us to go back and remember those things. But
right, bring the spice back in.
Yes.
You get away from those things, and sometimes I get a little gut here. It's trying to get back into flexing those muscles again that we lost.
Yeah, he said, remember you used to wear heels? I said, remember you used to have muscles?
So bring those spices back.
Right.
So you want to take on the next one about kind of...
Yes, Monetta, I do sound like Esther. Okay, so let's just dive in here, okay? So the topic today is how to attract the love you want from your spouse, okay? Some of the things we say are going to be obvious, while other things we're gonna have to think about a little bit. They may challenge us a little bit, but one of the things that I say is a really good way to attract the love you want from your spouse is to give the love you want. Give the love you want. I know some people say that my spouse completes me, but that's not really true at all. Our spouses shouldn't complete us. Our spouses should complement us. And so instead of us assuming that, okay, I'll get 50-50 and then you'll give 50-50. No, I need to give 100%. And he gives 100% to the relationship for us to really get to that place where I feel loved and he feels loved. I mean, but it just goes back to the principle of reaping and sowing. We reap what we sow. If you sow, a whole lot of meeting of needs,
Right.
then it just kind of comes back. It just does in our relationship. It just does.
Right, which leads to, how you pursued your spouse in the first place. It wasn't a 50-50 thing. You were trying to get all of them. You were trying to make that deepest impact on how you were going to win them over, right? But then after you got them, it's like, well, I already got you now. What do I got to work on this for?
Right.
So you want to bring that spice and that flavor back on how you pursue them in the first place.
Right. And then you want to continue. This is another one. You want to continue to pursue your spouse. And like he said, a lot of times we just stop. We get them and we're like, we're done. I'm finished. I mean, I got you now. I mean, but there's something to that continual pursuit, right?
Yeah. Just like the Lord has for us, when he continues to try to pursue us.
Even when we turn away,
Right. So that same way, that same flavor that he says, you need to get, like I give 100% to the church. I want that expected 100% back from you. I want you and I desire you the same way that you should desire me. And that's what we lose in that, because a lot of times we get in this stalemate where I feel like I'm doing more than you are. And when you constantly are doing more than the other person, they're going to be heavily attracted to you. But how is that reflection going to come back on you when you're not putting more than 50% in?
Right.
So, kind of looking at that.
I mean, and I was reminded of marriage being like this campfire, right? How, and I know because I used to go on camping trips with my husband. We haven't done that lately, but we'll pray about that. But we used to, I would watch him set up these fires, right? And we'd go out, me and the kids, like, oh yeah, we got the fire set up. So we would go out and be warmed by the fire. But then after a minute, the fire just starts to go out for whatever reason. It could be a harsh wind that blows by. It could be the weather, maybe a little rain drizzles out of the sky. But for whatever reason, the fire just fades. And it's natural. It's supposed to do that. It's not supposed to just, keep going and going and going. It's what we do that makes the fire keep going and going and going. And if we stop pursuing and we stop doing, then our marriage is going to be just as
burn out.
Just as cold as that fire when it goes out. We can't let that happen, y'all.
Yeah.
It can't.
And while we're doing it, might as well not be PG anymore. If that spice isn't happening on the outside, it won't happen in the bedroom either.
That's just true.
So one of the things that we often talked about is to work with what you got. There's some implements that you have unique to you, that quality that you have that you need to work on, especially from your spouse. If you know something that your spouse likes, trying to get that back, you got to work at it. It's not something that comes. So if my wife likes me working hard and likes me coming home as a hard worker, then I've got to do something to get that back. But the same way that we talked about in the beginning, if I like the fact that she dresses nice or whatever, that really gets to me, that she brings that back, because that's what that attraction pull from both sides, begins to pull on. And a lot of times we sizzle out, like she said with the fire, we sizzle out, we forget those things, like, I don't care anymore about, she don't care about me. And this is the hard part, because when your spouse starts to sizzle on the other side, that's when we tend to roam on and get attracted to other people and get attracted to things that don't belong to us. So it's important that we bring that attractiveness back, because that's what happens. We start searching for things that seem like it's good for us, like it seems like it's really good for us. And that's where relationships start to distort, and they start looking for things that they don't really need. It's in your marriage, it's in your spouse. You just haven't pulled it out yet. And so that's some of the things that we wanted to talk about today.
Right. And I wanted to bring up something that I love about our relationship. I mean, I just love it. And I hope, I want everybody to have this. And I don't know if they do, but what I love about our relationship is that we support one another's weaknesses. I love that.
Yes.
It's like where he's weak, I try to make up for it, and then where I'm weak, he makes up for it. So, for example, just today, okay, my daughter calls me. She asked to go to I'm sorry. She asked to take my car to the store, and so she takes the car to the store. She calls me. She's like, "Mom, the car won't cut on. I don't know what to do," and I didn't know what to do either. I'm like, I don't know what to do either. But it's awesome to have a spouse who sees things that I'm just like terrified by. I'm just like, I don't know what to do, and to have him say, I got it.
Yeah.
It's cool. I got it. And I do the same thing for him. Like when he needs help with something that I know, I'm just looking at him like, I might as well do it, because that poor little thing. If I just let him just do that. And we just work together like that, and I just love that about our relationship.
Right. That's that complementary working in the relationships, as opposed to just trying to complete them.
Right.
They don't need that completion. We need a complementing.
Right.
So one of the ways that we do that is by showing appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we forget, that the other person in the relationship, they didn't have to be with us. They chose to be with us. And so, just like you do with everybody else in your life, when they do something nice for you, you want to appreciate them. And so one of the things that I noticed that was checked on Facebook is that my wife had written me a big post about all the things that she appreciated about me, and she talked about me. And that really did something for me. That caused an attraction right there. I couldn't wait to get home to my woman, that wrote that big article. But it was even better because the men came out the woodwork and told me, man, that's a blessing right there. We need to get some of that. How you do that, brother? And I'm saying, look, I just show my wife the appreciation that she shows me. I might not put it on Facebook, but there are times, when I come home and I know she's worked hard and everything, that's the time when you come home and you say, baby, I know you cooked all day. Why don't you sit down? I'm going to make food. And then after that, I'm going to make sure that the kids are entertained. And then I'm going to sit down after the meal, and then I'm going to rub your feet. And then I'm going to, watch a video or do what you want to do. And just
he doesn't like feet. He would never do that.
But it's the appreciation factor, that you pull out.
Yeah.
Feet may be a little thing, but you know what I'm saying.
He has an issue with feet. We're gonna have to pray for him. He got an issue.
But you do the things that you want your spouse likes and enjoys, and she will appreciate you more and be more attracted to you because you do those things. And I don't know what you would say about that, but if I had done all of that, how would you feel at the end of the night?
I feel great.
Yeah. But sometimes you would put more out, for saying, God, I'm, because, like you were saying the other night, man, I'm so grateful for you being the man in my life. I'm so grateful for, what you've done, and so, you pull that out of them.
Yeah.
And I know one of the things you said, before when you talk about the campfire, she's like, I'm so glad I married a manly man, because, women have all different types of attractions, and I have a certain type too, but those type of things you want to pull out. And when they tell you those things, be listening and be mindful of them, because they're telling you, look, this is why I'm attracted to you. And so, you want to present that to them.
Yes, absolutely. And we did want to throw out there, I'm looking at the chat box. If you have questions, throw them in the chat box. And Monetta, I will consider those heels while I make dinner. While I cook dinner, I will consider that. I will consider. No promises, though. No promises.
Right. So on to being the spouse needs before your own.
Oh yeah.
The spouse needs before your own.
It's something special when we put our spouse's needs ahead of our own. It just you want to go with that one? Yeah.
So one of the things that I thought about is that, when we talk about this 50-50, it's not a 50-50, you go over and beyond. A lot of marriages don't understand that sometimes you got to put more into the relationship than you're thinking that you have to. Right. And so one of the things is that kind of what they say about the 80-20 rule, You know, if your spouse is really worth something to you, you don't want to give that 20%. You want to give that 80%. Right. You want to go over and beyond what you think that you might be capable of, because that's what's going to attract you to them. You know, when Jesus gave his all, he gave it all. It wasn't just, you know, okay, so you do this part, I do this part. It's the whole enchilada. You know, and one of the things that I found that was really great is I've seen some spouses that will compete for what they do for one another. So, you know, if one spouse does something really nice for them, they'll try to get ahead of them by doing something even greater and better. You know, and so like I remember seeing one of these relationships where the woman said, you know, I know my man loves and wants a boat, you know, and I have some desires of my own, but I'm going to put it all off, and I'm going to make sure I save up for this boat, and then I'm going to surprise him with the boat. And so when the man received the boat, can you imagine what that did to him? And to know that his wife sacrificed for him in order to get him that boat. So what he's going to do now is he's going to say, okay, she got me the boat, I got to top this. Can you imagine the attractiveness that would happen to them that no other person could compare? You know, I was telling my wife the other day about TD Jakes. TD Jakes said I couldn't be with another woman who did not understand what I had to go through when I was driving my hoopty, when I had no money, when I was living in an apartment in a little shelter, when I had barely anything. And now all that we have, I couldn't imagine be with anybody else. I'm just attracted to her. And that's how I feel about my wife.
I like him too. Another point we wanted to bring out, I wanted to bring out, was to be present. And I think that's something that we struggle with. We struggle with being present with one another. And what I mean by that is, like, even the other night, I'm like, come sit next to me on the couch. I mean, I never see you. We're just always going in different directions. And so he comes to sit down next to me, of course, with his phone. And then, like, he's not on the phone while he's sitting on the couch. When he comes over to the couch and he sits next to me, but slowly his phone opens up and he starts scrolling. And then my phone is on my side and I pick it up and I start scrolling. And it's a struggle for us to be present with one another with all of this technology. It's just so hard, but I love it when we actually can put it away and just talk to each other and just connect and get on the same page. I love that, but it's something we have to fight for because we're living in this age where it's just not a thing. There's so much technology that bombards us that we have to stop and just be present there with one another. I mean, even when we're like in the car together, like I'll be thinking about something over here and he'll like say like a 5-minute long, disposition on something. And then he's like, so what do you think about that? And I'm like, oh Lord, I think it's good. And he said, you weren't even listening to me, were you? And so it's just that struggle that we constantly have to get back to just being present with one another. And for us, I think it only happens when we remove ourselves from our day-to-day. Like we have to go out on a date. Otherwise, it's not going to happen when we're here with the kids. It's not going to happen, when we're just going about our day to day. It has to happen. Like we have to intentionally like remove ourselves from what we see every day and force ourselves to go like this. Like, hey, how are you? I hadn't seen you in a long time. So
having those intimate moments.
Yeah.
The intimate moments are very important for that attractiveness. Sometimes you got to put things away in order to have that time of intimacy. We don't look at it as that, but that's what it really is, being able to share and connect. So putting all that stuff away. And one of the things that my wife and I used to do before COVID hit is that we would leave the kids at home and we would go to Starbucks and we have these intimate moments of conversation. But it's not just being able to talk, say, hey, how's your day and everything. It was to really talk and connect, share what's on each other's hearts and minds and feelings. And I know for me as a man, I mean, I'm not speaking for every other man, but that means a lot to me to really connect with my wife. That's the biggest attraction, is that I want that attention from her. And so one of the things that we used to talk about at those coffee shops is to bring up those past memories that we can reconnect with, some of the vacations, some of the intimate moments that we've had before. Also to talk about the present. What are we doing now? Where are we at in our relationship? What kind of things, can we do as a couple together? And then not only that, but also in the future. What are we going to do in the future? How are we going to continue to be and maintain our relationship so that we have something to look forward to? Because a lot of times, we're always looking at the present and what happened in the past. You also have a future together. And if you're not looking at that future, you don't know how long your relationship is going to last. Some of you are just counting down the moments, when you can hurry up and get through, being with each other, or even where you are now. And so looking forward ahead, it gives you something to look forward to, and that's a biggest attraction for me, because I'm not looking other places if I know that we have a future together.
Right. And what goes into that is being able to understand your spouse. And so we have to study one another constantly, because we've evolved. Like, we're not the same. He was telling me, I don't know if this was a couple of weeks ago, years back, I took the insurance test so I could sell insurance, but I decided I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to sell insurance. And so, like, he'll bring that up every once in a while. We put in all that time for you to pass that insurance test, and you ain't even sold no insurance. Well, that's the old Madeline, okay? The new Madeline is here and does not want to sell insurance, okay? But we have to constantly study our spouse. Like, he's not the same John Allen that he was when I originally met him, and I'm not the same Madeline. I mean, I have the same face. You kind of have the same face. Right. Couple extra pounds right here in the midsection, but we have to constantly study each other, because we change. We've changed. Yeah. So that's very, very important. And it's almost like I'm an educator. I got my bachelor's, I got my master's degree, okay? And I want to be done. Like, I'm done. Okay, let me do what I want to do. But I can't, because there's this thing called professional development that is required for me to make sure I'm on the top of my game as an educator. And it's the same thing in our marriage. Like, even though you may think you have a bachelor's degree and your husband, or master's, and some of us think we have a PhD, like, no, you still need some professional development, because the times have changed a little bit. He's balding a little bit, or she's changing in this way. And we just have to study each other to make sure that we're making each other happy. What made me happy 10 years ago, it's not the same kinds of things that make me happy today. It's just I've evolved, I've grown, I've matured, and it's the same thing with him.
And that's where that attentiveness comes in. Right. We are learning our spouse, and one of the things that I said to you in our marriage vows is I really want to get to learn you, to really know you and know what you desire, so that I can be that person that you continually desire throughout the years. Right. And knowing your spouse and knowing some of the things, like she was talking about earlier, being able to listen, because there are some times that she will say things to me and she'll think I forget. And that's when you really to really heat up the moment and say, if you go out and find that thing that she was looking for, when she isn't thinking about it, because if she tells you and she's really thinking about it, it's not really much of a surprise, as if you just kind of let things squash a little bit, and then go out and get the thing that she wanted, or do something that she really wanted, and bring it back to her and surprise her. Yeah. That kind of quality really brings it out. And one of the things I want to say about this is while we're learning each other, these type of things like conferences, love conferences, things about marriage and everything, those type of educations help to build in your marriage. So I want to give a shout out to Unique Couples. Yes. Right? Because it's these platforms and other things that help us to renew our marriage and renew why we're attracted to the person we're attracted to, but also help us to engage and bring the fire back that we may have lost. Right. So remember that, that just educating yourself, and you can do it online on YouTube, just not during your intimate moments, but find those things and those qualities that really matter in your relationship, because that will build the fire.
Right. And there's one more thing that we wanted to talk about. Didn't want to gab all night, but I think I'm going to let you take it away. Okay. That's the most important
Okay. So one of the things that I often bring out, you know, I am a preacher.
As you can tell, probably.
By nature. But one of the things and the qualities that have really sustained Madeline and my marriage, especially in the area of attractiveness, is that God has to be the center. Any problem, any circumstance, anything that's too great of a trial or whatever, really that might break up an ordinary marriage. If God is the center, you know, he's kind of like put you as the magnet. You two are opposites, and he's the center, and he can bring you two together. Yeah. You know, even when times are hard or difficult, or when you have disagreements, God pulls those things together. It's like the magnets. When two positives, they repel each other, but God is that magnet that draws the two of you together. Yeah. So one thing that was emphasized in our relationship, no matter what happens, I'm always attracted to the God in her. You know, when she is doing her Bible study moment, her devotional moment, when she's praying, that's really attractive to me, because, you know, I'm a man who loves God, and to see that my wife truly loves God and she's doing all that she can, that's a big attraction to me. That makes me want her all the more. And the same with her, when she sees me, you know, preaching or doing something for the will of God, you know, that attracts her. She said, I'm so glad that I marry a man of God, because he treats me well. You know, he looks out for me. He prays for me. You know, these type of qualities are what attract a person. And it also maintains and sustains your marriage.
It sustains it as well, because he's not always like on this cloud of holiness, like, oh, I love the Lord, he heard my cry. He's not always like that. He gets down to, there are moments where he doubts, you know, and is lacking, I would say, in faith a little bit. And those are the times where I can kind of rise up and seek the Lord on our behalf. So it's not that we're all, you know, I'll have a halo on our heads all the time. But, you know, when he's really weak and down, just feeling like he can't, you know, go on, it's my time to go to God and you know, just be that, that one that's filled with faith. And then when I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe all of this stuff is going on, and I start to, you know, popping off at the mouth and acting crazy, then, you know, then it's like, he's the one who can say, look, the Bible said, even though now, but I receive that when I'm popping off. But it's like this balance. It's like, even when one of us is down, like one of the soldiers is down, it's like God just does something. And I know when we used to fuss a lot in the early days, when we used to fuss a lot, I remember a specific argument, and we're going to wrap it up here. I remember a specific argument that we had, and I kept trying to just drill something into him, like, I don't understand why you don't get. And he said, stop. He said, if you want me to get something, you need to go to God and have him minister that to me. And then we can go from there. And it was like a light bulb just came on. So instead of me constantly like fussing and nagging him, I went to God and I said, God, you already know the deal. So I need you to just, you know, do what it is that you do. And like, it was just, our relationship did this 180. And like, without me even going to him and expressing certain things that I knew would rile him up, God like convicted his heart of things. And it's the same thing. Yeah. It's the same thing, vice versa, where he would convict my heart of things, and like he just smiled because he knew that he talked to God about it. So it's just, he's the one who sustained us. I can't imagine like, us just continuing on without that. It's sad. It would be sad to try to attempt life without God.
Without God. And so these are kind of some of the ways that we talk about how to attract the love that you want from your spouse. And so we hope that you've gotten something out of this, and we appreciate you, Linda and Vito.
Any questions?
We'll say in the chat box.
Awesome. Type your questions in chat. And then for those of you who will be watching the replay, of course, you can do that and type replay in chat as well when you do watch the replay. Yes. So we're all excited. I love it. Show appreciation. Put your spouse needs ahead of your own. Have those intimate moments. I love the Starbucks going out for that. Yeah, yes, that is definitely needed, and taking time out for those date nights, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, which reminds me, date night. So
Date
we
night,
have
yes.
something.
We
Yes.
have a date night that's coming up December the 7th and the 8th. So you want to type date in the chat to let us know that you are interested in the date night. December the
Yes.
7th
Yes.
and December the 8th. would be
Beyond the money,
night.
underneath the covers. Yes, unique couples date night. Hello, Marlando. Yeah, we had some comments. Marlando said, awesome message. Yes, yes.
Man,
Hi, Michael. I
thank
see
you.
Michael's watching. Karanda, so true. Moneta said, that's good. Continue to grow and develop into what your spouse needs.
Yes.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. Yes.
Hey, Michael, how are you? Michael is from Guyana.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Amen.
Cool.
Put in your locations. Yes. So I know I have a quick question. It's not a question. It's not really on too much of the topic, but I know you mentioned it, and you can go ahead and see more of John and Madeline's their story, part of their story online on Unique Couples Facebook page, and it's also on Twitter and definitely on YouTube as well.
Right.
Not YouTube, sorry,
Instagram,
yes,
and Twitter.
Instagram, yes, on Instagram as well. So you can go ahead and read some more of that. And I know during that I read and you talked about being a blended family and some of the challenges. I don't know if you just want to, we'll wrap up with that. Let us know. Okay, was there any challenge with I guess with you two coming together, any challenge that you'd wish to share with our audience tonight and let them know, how you overcame it?
Yes. Well, one of the biggest challenges we had is that coming into our relationship as we blended our families, we were blending boys and girls.
Yeah.
And so, there were girls coming in on my end and boys coming in on his end. And boys are different from girls. They say crazy things. I remember one day especially, the girls dressing up. I was dressing my girls up, and one of his boys comes down. He was like, "Oh," he says it to the girl, "Oh, you ugly," and it was just like. And I remember saying to myself, "Oh my goodness, your children are horrible." But it was just boys being boys, and that was a huge challenge. Like we had to learn how to just live together in unity, and I had to learn how to stop being so sensitive. And then because I have sisters too, so it's just like girls don't call each other ugly. We cover it up and say something else. But we just had to learn how to coexist, and it was just the natural challenges that occur when people, when families come together. But I'm telling you, it's that God factor, because we had some serious disagreements, but at the end of the day, I would say my piece, he would say his piece, but God had the final say, and he would convict our hearts one way or the other, and we would come back together again. We would have those family meetings where we would sit down and do what we had to do to make it work. So it's a struggle, and we only have a couple left now because they flown the coop. But God sustained us. He's kept us, and I don't know how we ended up with this little 5-year-old. I don't know what we were thinking.
Yeah.
But she's here,
Yeah.
so we had her. We're like, who's gonna change this diaper? Like, it's been years since we changed the diaper. We didn't know how to do that.
And there's challenges too with getting away and just being apart with one another. And so sometimes, we had to get the older children to, watch the younger children while we went into another room and had a date night or, did things like that. So there's challenges, but like I said, like she said, when we really know each other and we're pretty much settled in and being single parents, so we understood how those dynamics work, which is for another show, but but those qualities come out, and that's what grows to appreciate one another.
Yeah.
For what we've gone through as a couple.
Absolutely. You have to get away.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yes.
With blended families especially, you have to get I mean, with everybody, but with blended families, you have to get away.
Yeah.
You have to go away where your kids aren't in your ear and your kids aren't in your ear, and you just come together and you lead together. It's so important that you lead together and not, oh, I'm going to lead my kids and then you lead your kids over there. But we had to learn, and we had to teach the kids that we were leading the family together.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome, wonderful, wonderful. So constantly study your spouse.
Yes.
That is definitely one way to attract
Yes.
the love you want from your spouse. We're so happy we had this conversation and what you guys shared with us tonight. Yes. And have something to look forward to. Isn't that special? Have something to look forward to as a couple. You know, just think future, think, you know, what are we going to do together?
Right, right. Yes. Looking forward to those things.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, we got to prepare for 2021 now. 2020, we got to get this out the way.
It's trash.
Like I said in the beginning, you have to attract your spouse 10 years into the marriage, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. You have to continuously do it. You have to do that work.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Put in the work.
Put in the work. That's right.
Yes, yes.
We go to work every day on our jobs, so we have to put
Yeah.
in that work every day in our marriage.
That's right.
it.
That's
That's
right.
it.
You want to
Right.
make it what you want it,
Yeah.
and you won't have to work at it to get it.
Yeah.
Make it what you want it.
Make it what you want it. Yeah. Yeah. You know, you have certain desires that you want to get to, you know, as a couple, you know, you got to plan together. If you're planning oppositely, you know, you mess it all up. You're looking forward to the things that both of you desire so you can get to that spot at the same time in the same way.
Definitely. Monetta said it was hot, hot, hot. Love it. Dawn said interesting tip. And yes, Monetta said she enjoyed it. Hello, Donika. We are ending. Hi, Lindbergh. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Catch the replay because you guys are just coming in and we are.
Yes.
We had today with us
John and Madeline Allen from
Yes.
Yazoo City, Mississippi.
City. Yes.
Yes, they did an excellent presentation, and we want to thank them again
How
for
to attract the love.
How to attract the love.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We want to thank them again for the great job that they did.
And John Wallace is saying, proud of my pastor and first lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So for our Unique Couples community, you want to remember to follow us on Instagram at Unique Couples 242, on Facebook and YouTube. You can follow us at Unique Couples. So you want to make sure, share this. You want to tag it.
Yeah.
Also on Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter as well, Unique Couples.
Mhm.
So you want to make sure to do that. And here at Unique Couples.
Listen, don't forget the date night. Madeline and John said it tonight as well. Make sure you do these things. If
That's
you are
right.
married and you're not watching Unique Couple Sunday Night Live, something is wrong. So make sure you continue to watch and invite your friends. And of course, join us for date night, December 7th at 8. Yes. Anyway, yeah.
John and Madeline talked about professional development.
Yes. Invest in your marriage.
Yes, exactly. So like I'm going to say, here at Unique Couples, we are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families.
Yeah.
So we had fun this evening. Want to thank John and Madeline again, and Unique Couples community. We want to say have a great evening. We love you guys, and see you next week, Sunday.
Right there. Another exciting guest. Goodbye.
All right.
Bye.